Alright, good afternoon everyone. So today we are going to discuss IOQM mock test. Now this contains 2 markers and then I think we have 3 markers and then we have the 5 markers. So first 5 2 markers, next 5 3 markers, next 5 5 markers. Right, so without further ado, let's begin with the first question. Now he says write the number of 2-digit possible digits. 2-digit possible digits. So that means I need to consider only from 10 to 99. But there is a condition that is divisible by both of their digits. So let me just consider the first of which is 10. Now the digits are 1 and 0 obviously. Now let me see whether 10 is divisible by 1 obviously. Then 10 divisible by 0, not a chance. So that means I will not consider 10. Next let me consider 11. Now 11 is divisible by 1, divisible by 1, so yes. Then let's take 12. Divisible by 1, divisible by 2, yes. 13, divisible by 1, not divisible by 3, no. Then 14, divisible by 1, not divisible by 4, so no. Then 15, divisible by 1, 5, yes. 16, no, because not divisible by 6. Then 17, of course not. Then 18, of course not. 19, not a chance. 20, not even considered. Then 21, no. 22, yes. Then 23, no. 24, yes. Divisible by 2, divisible by 4, that is why. Just exhaust the cases and you will get the answer as obvious. Alright, on to the next question. Now he says the radii of 2 circles is 37 and 35. So 37 and 35. And he says PO, as in this length is given to you. Let K be the length of PT, which is tangent to the circle with center O dash, and points A, O dash, B, P. They are coordinates. So that means they lie in the same straight line. Now he says write the value of K. So indirectly I need to find the value of tangent PT. Now since tangent is getting involved, obviously I will join the point of contact with the center. And this angle has to be 90 degrees. If I'm interested in this length, that means I'll be working in this triangle as in P, O dash T. In this triangle, I know this length, which is the radius, which is 35. Since it is a 90 degree, that means I'll be interested in this length. Right? Then using Pythagoras theorem, I can find my PT. So my objective is to find the length O dash. In order to find this length is given to me. Obviously, I will join this one. Now, I'll be working in this triangle O dash P, in this triangle. I already know this length. I need to find this length. So somehow, if I'm able to ascertain this length, my problem is solved. And this length is easily visible to us. This length, let's see. O dash, this length. Now, he says that O dash is the center of the circle. Right, so that means this is my diameter. So this length is equal to this length. Right. Now consider the big circle. AB is chord of the bigger circle, and this is line from the center, and it is bisecting the chord. So that means this line has to be perpendicular. Class 9 here. Right. Now if this is 90 degree, I can easily find out this length. Why? Because if I join this is 37. This is 35. And using Pythagoras theorem, we know the Pythagorean triplet, that is 12. Right? So, O dash is equal to 12. Right? Now, go on to the bigger triangle, this one, the one we were interested in. Now, in triangle O dash P, I know the length OP, which is given to you, 2, 4, 5, 8. And I know this length O dash, which is 12, and I need to find this length O dash P, which turns out to be actually root 231. I think our job is done. If I know this length, I already know this length. Using Pythagoras theorem again, we'll try to find the length of K, and the answer turns out to be 30. Alright, on to the next one. Now he says if this ratio is equal to minus 5 by 3, and then this ratio be K, then find the value of 35 here. So basically, I am interested in the value of this ratio. Now, in order to find this, first of all, I'll obviously try to understand what this is saying. So I have no option. What I do is I just open them up and let's see what happens. Now, if I multiply these two, I will get AC minus AD minus BC plus BD, whole divided by, and then I will BD minus AB minus CD plus BC equal to minus. Right? This is given to us, and if I need to find the value of this, so let me just simplify it and see what I need to find out. So I will get AB minus AD minus BC plus BD, whole divided by AC minus AD minus BC plus BD. Right? This is something that I'm interested in. Now, if I look carefully, I can see similar terms coming in the numerator as well as denominator. Let me see. AC is here, AC is here. BD is here, BD is here. Right? AD and BC, obviously here we do not find AC. So if these two similar terms are coming again and again, that means there has to be some reason for it. So what I'll do is I will try to isolate AC plus BD. I'll try to do that. Right? When I isolate, I get a relation between, I get this relation, I'll write it down directly. I get 5 into AB plus CD plus 3 into AD plus BC by 8. I get this relation. Now, let me see what is happening over here. Now, I have found out the value of AC plus BD. Let me see whether I can have AC plus BD over here or not. So, in the numerator, I cannot find that. But in the denominator, I have AC plus BD. So what I'll do is, I will get the value of AC plus BD. From here, I'll just substitute over here. As soon as you substitute, terms will get cancelled out. In fact, K turns out to be, I will just write it directly, K turns out to be 8 by 5. Because you will get the similar terms and you will get 8 into thing, divided by 5 into thing, and this is the same obviously, and you will get, and it will get cancelled. That is why K will turn out to be 8 by 5. Hence, the answer will be 56. Alright, on to the next question. Now he says, let n be this. With the smallest positive integer where a, b, c are primes. Obviously, supposedly I have written prime factorization, and this is the smallest positive integer. But it should satisfy the condition. N by 6 is a perfect cube. Now, n by 6, that means it has to be a whole number. So, n should be divisible by 2 and 3. Right? So, that means 2 of the primes I can ascertain. They have to be 2 and then it has to be 3. Also, n by 10 is a perfect fifth part. That means n should be divisible by 10. That means n should be divisible by 2 as well as 9. So, that means I don't know the 3 prime numbers. So, 2 is there, suppose, Q is there, 3 is there, and then 5 is there. Alright, similarly I will write this as 3 into 5. Right, let me study the first condition. Now it says n by 2 into 3. Now let me just write n by 2 into 3. I can rewrite this as 2 raised to power p minus 1 into 3 raised to power q minus 1 into 5 raised to power 1. Is that fine? I've just substituted the value of n from here to here. Now he says this number, as in this number is a perfect cube. Now I know if the number is a perfect cube, so that means this has to be divisible by 3, so it has to be 3, 6, 9 and so on. Similarly 3, 6, 9 and so on, 3, 6, 9 and so on. Right? Now, if p minus 1 is 3, that means the value of p is 4. If p minus 1 is 6, the value of p is 7. Then next is 9, so here it is 10. So I will just write the corresponding values of p. So I get either 4, 7, 10 and so on. Similarly, when I talk about q, I know that q minus 1 is either 3, 6, 9 and so on. Similarly, q I will get 4, 7, 10 and so on. And r, you will just directly say 3, 6, 9 and so on. Right? Now, on to the next condition. Now he says n by 2 into 3. So again, I will rewrite this. So, 2 raised to power p minus 1 into 3 raised to power q into 5 raised to power r minus 1. Now this has to be perfect fifth part. So that means p minus 1 can be 5, then it can be 10, then 15 and so on. So that means p will turn out to be 6, 11, 16 and so on. Q has no restriction, so it will be 5, 10, 15 and so on. Then r again it will be 6, 11, 16 and so on. Right? Similarly, you will write for n by 3 into 5 and you will say 3 raised to power, should write 2, 1. So 2 raised power p into 3 raised power q minus 1 into 5 raised power r minus 1. Now this has to be a perfect square. P is 2, 4, 6 and so on. Q minus 1. If it is 2, then that means q is 3. Q minus 1. If it is 4, then q is 5. So 3, 5, 7 and so on. And r will go on the same. Right? Now you need to find P, Q and R which satisfy this condition, this condition, this condition. And that to the smallest one. So just look for the smallest one. So I can see, in fact you can search it out, I will directly write it. P actually turns out to be 16. Because 16 will be present over here if I write 13, 16. Right? 16 is present over here and obviously these are our even, so 16 will be present over here. And similarly, you will find that Q turns out to be 25. You can just search for it. The smallest number will be present over here, over here, over here. And R turns out to be 21. Right? You can add them up. P plus Q plus R turns out to be 62. But he says product of digits. So 6 into 2, that is why the answer is 12. Alright. The next one, which is quite interesting because if you know how to read the clock, you already have the answer. Alright. Now it says how many positions are there on a regular clock. So obviously from 12 to 12. With minute hand and second hand in a coincident position in 1 hour. Right? Okay. So minute hand, the longer one, and the second hand, even the longer one. Coincident position. So that means their positions should coincide. Alright. Now he says in 1 hour. So I'll just take any particular 1 hour. So I will understand from 12 noon to 12:59. Right? Because 1 o'clock, exactly 1 o'clock, we'll move on to the next one. Right? So in fact, 12 noon to 1 I should say. Right? So that will be given. Now let's start. Now at 12 noon, obviously I know that the minute hand is here and the second hand is here. Both are coincident. Alright, now what is happening when I'm going to 12:01? In 12:01, obviously the second hand will go forward, right? Because in 1 minute, the second hand needs to complete the entire rotation. Is that fine? Right, so when I'm moving to 12:01, the second hand will move. In fact, I'll show it like this, moving. Here it comes back. Now when 12:01 is there, the second hand is here, but the minute hand is there. Right? So, first day, obviously, they have coincided at 12:01. Now, when will they coincide? Let's see. Now, the minute hand is at 12:01. Now, obviously, it will move forward a little bit, right? And obviously, the second hand is faster. So, it will try to overtake and it will overtake. But there will be a position between 12:01 and 12:02 when their positions will be same. So, there will be a time between 12:01 to 12:02. I am not interested at what exact time because he says how many positions are there. So I know between this time and this time they are coincident once. So that is more than sufficient for me. Is that fine? Right. Moving on. Now suppose it is 12:02 now. At 12:02 the minute hand is here and the second hand is here. Right? Again the second hand needs to complete the entire rotation. Right? In that period, the 12:02, this hand will move from 12:02 to 12:03. So, just slightly. Cool. Again, when it is moving slightly, the second hand will come from behind, coming. And then there will be a position between 12:02 to 12:03. Then these two hands will be coincident. Right? Okay. Now, I can do the trauma again. I can show that 12:03 and 12:04, there would be another position. Right? So, I can see the pattern. So it is going on. I come to 12:56 to 12:57, again coincidence. Then we have 12:57 to 12:58, and then we have 12:58 to 12:59. Let me go to the extreme position in order to assess the answer. Now what happens at 12:59? Let's see, 12:59, my minute hand is here. Right? And my second hand is here. Now, in 1 minute, this hand will go from here to here, the minute hand, just slightly, and the second hand will have to go through an entire rotation. Cool? So it is moving forward obviously in the direction and this moving in this direction. And it is faster. But the problem is when it is moving, these two will coincide again when the minute hand moves to 12 and the second hand also moves to 12. Right? So between 12:59 to 12 or 1 o'clock we should say, there is no coincidence. Right? Because between this and this, actually they will coincide exactly at this point, but that will be for my next start, that is 1 o'clock. So it will not be counted from 12 to 1. Right? Because when we say 12 noon to 1, I do not include this time. Right? So how many positions? Obviously we are starting from 0, 0 and we are going to 58, that is why the answer is 59. Or just have a clock, observe it and you'll have the answer. Alright, on to the next one. Now he says the chemist has 3 bottles, each containing a mixture of acid and water. Now bottle A contains 40 grams of which 10% is acid. So I have 3 bottles, so A, B, C. Obviously I might write the acid content. Easier for us. Now he says out of 40 grams, 10% is acid. So I can just find 10% of 40, which is 4. So that means 4 grams is my acid. Similarly, 20% is acid, so that is 20% of 50, so I can write that as 10. Then 30% is acid, so 30% of 50, that I can write as 15. Alright. Now it says she uses some of the mixture from each of the bottles to create a mixture with mass 60 grams, of which 25% is acid. So she's getting some out of this, some out of this, some out of this. And in collaborating that she gets 60 grams. Out of which 25% is the acid. So that means 25% of this is the acid. So acid amount is nothing but 25% of 60, which is 15. Right? So that means initially how much acid did she have? She had 29 gram acid. She has used 15 gram of acid already. So that means she is left with acid left. That is 40 grams. Right? She says she mixes the remaining contents of the bottles to create a new mixture. Alright. Let K percent be the percentage of acid in the new mixture. Then write the value of 6K by 5. So I need to find out the acid percentage basically. Right. Now acid left is this much. In order to evaluate acid percentage, I need to know how much mixture is there. Now she says out of this, how much did she have? She had 140 grams. Right. Out of 140, she has already utilized 60. That means the remaining mixture is 80 grams. I think problem is done. This is the remaining mixture. This is the acid left. So I just want the acid percentage. So that is nothing but 40 by 80 into 100. This is my K. Just multiply it by 6 by 5 and you will get the answer as 21. Alright. On to the next one. Now he says rectangle ABCD has length AB as 4 and length BC as 6. Now he says semicircle with diameter AE and FC. So semicircle 1, semicircle 2. Obviously center is S and C. He has radius R each. Radius R, radius R. Now he says they touch each other at P, already marked. Write the value of 6R. So I am interested in the radius of these two semicircles. Right? Now obviously these two circles are touching externally. Now whenever touching externally, what I will do is I will join the point of contact with this center. And if I extend it, I know that this will pass in the other center. So this forms a straight line. So I will probably be using it. Also, I can see that this length is R. So that means this total length is 2R. Cool. Now, if I want to find out R, so I would want to use this as the side of a triangle in order to set up equations. Now, if I want to use this, I need to use this 4. Also, this is a rectangle, right? So that means 90 degrees here. And somehow I need to use 90 degrees, but I want this as the side of the triangle. So what I'll do is I will draw this value. Right? So if I call this point Q. This length and this length is same, so this is 4, this is 4. Right? So I'll be working in this triangle SQT. I know this length I know in terms of R. Somehow if I'm able to find this length QT in terms of R, my problem is solved. I know this entire length 6, right? I'm interested in this one. Let me see whether I can find the remaining portion or not. What is this length? Now, this length is nothing but r, right? So, r. Now, I am interested in this, but I know this remaining part. Somehow, if I know this remaining part, my problem is solved. Now, this remaining part is nothing but r again. So, this is 6, this is r, this is r. That means this length is 6 minus 2r. Done? I think my equation is set up because Pythagoras theorem, I will just say 4 square plus 6 minus 2r whole square is equal to 2r whole square. Just solve it for r and you will find the value of 6r to be 13, which is the answer. Alright, on to the next one. Now it says write the solution in natural numbers of this equation. Now I can say this is quadratic in 2 variables, but I need to find the solution in natural numbers. That means x has to be a natural number and y has to be a natural number. Now, as I can see, this is x square minus y square. So, obviously, I will try to factorize x plus y into x minus y. This has to be equal to 4. Now, minus this is a natural number, this is a natural number. That means sum will be a natural number. Similarly, difference will be a natural number. Natural number into natural number. All I need to do is think of 432 as product of two natural numbers. One way is writing all the divisors. I can do that, not a big deal. But or the next way I can do is I can just write the prime factorization. It will be easier for me to write the divisors like that. So if you prime factorize it, it turns out to be 2 raised to the 4 into 3 cubed. Right? Before proceeding further, I know that this is x plus y, this is x minus y. Some difference. Now, obviously, the difference will be the lesser quantity and sum will be the larger one. So, if I want to write the first one, what I'll do is I'll write 1 over here and the other one 2 raised to the 4 into 3 cubed, which is nothing but 432. Let me write it for the first one. Right? Now, x plus y equal to 432 and x minus y equal to 1. If I want to find the value of x and y, I will first of all add them up. So, I get 2x equal to 433. From here, obviously, I am not getting x as a natural number. So, I will reject this. Second, now I will write 2 over here and then I will be left with 2 cubed into 3 cubed. Right? Or I could have just written for the sake of this 216. Now, if I have x plus y as 216 and x minus y as 2, let me see what is 2x. This is 280. I will get a natural x and corresponding to the natural x, I will get a natural y. So, this is the solution that I want. Right? Okay. Next one. I will write 2 over here. Now, from here, I will just write 3 and I will be left with 1, 4, 4, hopefully. Right? Now, again, x plus y equal to 144 and then this turns out to be 3. When then add them up, I'll get an odd number. Odd number is not divisible by 2, I know that, so I will be rejecting. I think now I know what to do. If I put 4 over here, as in 2 square over here, I'll be left with 2 square into 3. This is an even number, this is an even number, right? Even number, even number. If I add them up, I'll get an even number. That means I will be getting a natural value of x. So I will take it. Right? 2 square and then I can do 2 into 3. Now 2 into 3, that means the remaining thing is 2 cubed into 3 square. Again, I get it y. This is an even number, this is an even number. In this way, you can exhaust it. Next you write 2 cubed. Again, this is 2 into 3 cubed. 2 is present, so I know I will be getting solution. I will not be checking. Then I can write 3 square, which is 9. Here I will have a problem because I will put 2 raised to 4 into 3 over. Right? This is odd, this is even. When I add them up, I'll get odd over here. And odd is not divisible by 2, that is why I will. Just exhaust it like this and you will get the answer as 0. Alright, the next one. Now it says the last 3 digits of a number are x to 5. So that means this is a digit. Obviously 2 is a digit, 5 is a digit. Now if x is a digit, that means it will vary from 0, 1, 2, so on till 9. Alright. Now it says for how many values of x can n be the square of an integer? For how many values of x can n be a perfect square basically? Right? Now I want my number to be a perfect square. I know only the last 3 digits, x, 2, 5. I do not know what is coming ahead. Right? Now, mind it, if I want this to be a perfect square, a perfect square. So that means it will be a perfect square of something. I know the last digit of this number. Since the square ends in 2, 5, obviously the last digit is 5. Cool. Now the question is why I am going from this to this. Right? Because the square will ascertain the third digit, right? Now I will try to ascertain this number. Now I do not know how many digits are there, which digits are there, I do not know. So let me consider this entire thing as 1. The entire thing. So it y can be 157, y can be 1000 a day. Right? So y is a number in itself. How many digits? I do not know. Right? Now I am interested in this number y and the last digit is 5. Right? Now if I want to square this up, first of all what I'll do is I'll write the expanded form. Now expanded form, this number, the entire number into 10 plus 5. I hope you understand that. If you are not able to understand that, just imagine y to be 102. Right? So my number is 1025. So I can write this number as 102 into 10 plus 5 into 1 if you want to write it. Right? Okay. Now, so this is nothing but 10 by. If I open this up, I'll get 10 by 100 by square plus this, so I'll get 100 by plus 20. Right? If I take 100 common, I'll get y into y plus 1 plus 20. This does make sense. Why? Because I am multiplying this number by 100 plus 25. So that means my last two digits are certain, which will be 25. Does this make sense? Now the thing is, I am interested in the third last digit. Now mind that the third last digit will be influenced by this product, y into y plus 1. Right? The unit place of this, the unit digit of this will ascertain the last third or third last digit of that number. Or maybe we should just say x. Why? Because 100 into this plus 25. Last two digits are certain. Now 100 will not have an impact. I will have this number. The last digit of this will have an impact on x. In fact, last digit of this will be equal to x. Now last digit of this. I'm only interested in last digit, right? Right? So y might end in 0. Y plus 1 will end in 1. So y into y plus 1 will end in 0. Cool? The possible value of x. Next, y might end in 1. Consequently, y plus 1 will end in 2. So that means y into y plus 1 will end in 2. Possible value of x. Then we have 2, 3, which will give me 6. Done. Then we will have 3, 4. Now, yes, it is 12, but I am only interested in the last digit, which will be 2. Which I have already written 2. Then 4, 5 will give me 2. It will give me 0 actually. 5, 6, 0 again, 6, 7, 2 again, 7, 8, 6 again, 8, 9, 2 again. So the only possible values of x that you are getting, that is either 0 or 2 or 6. That you can ascertain also, because if I put 0 over here, you can think of a number whose last three digits is 0 to 5 and it is a perfect square. So maybe I can have 2025, which is 45 over 5. Right, so 0 to 6 possible values of x. Now he says how many possible values? That is why the answer is 0. Alright, on to the next one. Now he says write the number of subsets of this that have no two successive numbers. Right, no two successive numbers. Now the thing is, I need to make cases, otherwise if I proceed like this, I will become confused. Right, now he says subset. So any subset of this will have maybe one element, then maybe 2 elements, then 3 elements, 4 elements, so on till 7 elements. Also, subset also includes the empty set, right? So that means subset will be empty, then 1 element subset, then 2 element subset, and so on. Right? So I'll proceed one by one. Now first if I take empty subset, right? Now empty set have no two successive numbers. That means this satisfies the condition. So I already know one. Then I will be interested in 1 element subset. 1 element. Now 1 element, if I just put 1, obviously it doesn't have two successive numbers, I will take this one. Then if I take 2, set containing 2, again it's satisfied. Then 3, again it's satisfied. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means I will have 7 one-member subsets that have no two successive members, right? So 1 from here, 7 from here. Now let's move on to the 2-member one. So obviously I will take, if I take 1, I cannot take 2, I will take 1 and 3. This is the set. Then I will take 1 and 4, then 1 and 5, then 1 and 6, 1 and 7. Exhausted? Then I move on to 2. Obviously along with 2 I cannot have 3, so I will do 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7 and so on. Then 3, then 4 and so on. In fact, I will get this one as 15. Right? 15? Yes. Now, then I move on to 3-member subsets. Again, if I take 1 over here, obviously I can take 2, now I will proceed with 3. If I've taken 3, I cannot have 4, then that means I can have 5. Or I can do 6, or I can do 7. So I have these 3. Then I've exhausted this 3 one. So 1, I've exhausted the 3 one, then I'll move on to 4. Now if I've taken 4, I cannot take 5, that means I'll just 6 or 7. Right? Just count it like that and you'll get 10 in number. Right? And the last one is the 4-element one. In this I will get just 1. Why? Because I have to take 1. Right? Then I have to take 3, the minimum. Then I have to take 5, the minimum. And then I have to take 7. In fact, after this no other cases are there. Because if I take 1, 4, right? I cannot take 5, I have to take 6. Then I will not have any element to take because I need to make 4 members. Then 1, 5, nothing. If I start with 2, I have to take 2, then minimum 4, then minimum 6. Again I'm done. So that means there is just 1 member in this 4-element subset. So just add them up and you get the answer. Alright, on to the next one. Now he says A, B, C, D is a rectangle inscribed in a circle. Obviously center is O. Now he says that AB is greater than BC. I have tried to make that. The ratio of the area of circle to the area of rectangle is pi to 3. And then angle ODC as in rectangle is equal to ADE as in rectangle. Then he says write the value of AD by AE raised to 4. So AD is here, AE is here. Also I know that this is a rectangle, so 90 degrees. I might be able to use that. Now the main condition is this: ratio of area of circle to the area of rectangle. Now obviously the area of circle is pi r square. So I'm obviously considering the radius to be r. Right? Now area of rectangle, if I consider this to be A and this to be B, I know that the area of rectangle is A. Now he says this ratio is nothing but pi by root 3. Right? So obviously I will get this cancelled out and I will get AB is equal to root 3, one reduction. Right? Also I know that this is a rectangle, right? So here I have 90 degrees. Right? Now, if I extend it, this is the diameter, DB is the diameter, as well as DB is the diagonal of the rectangle, right? I might be able to use that because this is A, this is B, and this length will be 2r. So, using Pythagoras theorem, I can say that A square plus B square equal to 2r whole square, which is 4r. I have this condition, I have this condition. Cool? So what I'll do is I will take the value of r square from here and will substitute here and I will get r square is nothing but AB by root 3. So I'm getting this equation root 3 A square minus 4AB minus root 3 B square plus root 3 B square equal to 0. Done. Now if I notice carefully, I know the factors of this equation. Why? I need to think of splitting minus 4 in two numbers such that the sum is minus 4 and the product is 3. That I can do as minus 3AB and minus AB. That is not a big deal. For splitting the middle term, you will get the factors as root 3A minus B into A minus root 3B. That is equal to 0. Now, so obviously root 3A is equal to B, or the other case is A is equal to root 3B. Now, he did say that AB is greater than BC. So that means A is greater. If A is greater, obviously I will reject this and I will come on to this. Because A is the greater one. Right? And the question is that was not the thing. I was interested in AB by AB. Till now we have not used the fact that these two angles are equal. Now equality of angles, where do I use it? Either use it in congruent triangles or similar triangles. Obviously I am not able to see congruent triangles, but similar triangles are very clear to us. If I consider this triangle ADE, why? Because anyways AD by AE, I would be using this triangle. This triangle is similar to this triangle, the big one. The two angles are equal, 90. And this big triangle gives me the ratio A by B. Right? Gives me the ratio AD by AE. No? Right, okay. Let me just write it, the similarity statement. So I can write triangle CDB is similar to CA, so triangle A, and for D I will go with D, so this is ADE. Just write the similarity statement, and also you already know this ratio A by B, which is equal to root 3. You will get AD by AE as root 3 raised to power 4. The answer is 0.9. Alright, the next one. Now it says write the number of integral solution of this. Now, integral solution of this. Now, y quadratic in x and then quadratic in y, right? So I do not know how to solve the equation as it is, but he says you don't need to talk about all the solutions, just the integral solution, right? Okay. Now if I look carefully on left hand side, I can see the factors as y into y plus 1. Why are we going for the factors? Any solving of the equation requires factorization, right? So whatever I can factorize, I will factorize. On left hand side, if I take x common, and that will be left with 1 plus x square plus x cube. Again, this is factorizable. This is 1 plus x into 1 plus x square. Right? So I have these 9 factors. Now integral solutions. First of all, let me write the obvious one. Right? Which will make left hand side equal to right hand side. Obviously, which will be, I will try to make this as 0 and this as 0. Now, if I put y as 0, right, y as 0, so this becomes 1, nobody cares. Now x will be, I can put x as 0, or I can put x as minus 1 also. Why? Because if I put x as minus 1, this term becomes 0. So I can do this also. Right? Now taken y as 0. Now if I want to make this as 0, I can put y as minus 1 also. So if I put y as minus 1, this thing becomes 0, nobody cares about this. This is minus 1, we care. Right? Now, right hand side 0, so obviously I can put x as 0, 1 case, or I can put as x as minus 1. Right? The obvious one, so I can say. Now the problem is, what about the non-obvious one? Let's see. So y into y plus 1 equal to x into 1 plus x into 1 plus x. Now, if I want to look ahead, what I can do? Maybe I can put x as 1. Let me see solutions in positive integers first. So as I'm putting x as 1, it's 1 into 2 into 3. Right? Into 2 times. Yeah. And this is y into y plus 1. Now, the thing is, this is 4. Can you think of splitting 4 as product of 2 integers and 2 consecutive integers? I can't do that because 4 I'll write, I'm just talking about the positive one. 1 into 4 or 2 into 2. Again, positive consecutive integers are not there. So this is not there. Then I can put x equal to 2. If I put x equal to 2, y into y plus 1 is 5. This becomes 2 into 3 into 5. Now this is a nice thing. Why? Because this is 30. 30 I can write as 5 into 6. Right? So if I do that, I get x as 2. Along with that, I get y as 5. Or the second case is y as minus 6. Yes. Right? Again, the obvious one I'm getting. Now, next, let's move ahead. X equal to 3. Y into y plus 1. This becomes 3 into 4 into 10. Now, if you look carefully, here consecutive integers are there. And this number is 12 and this number is 10. Right? No, not product of consecutive integers, so I will reject it. Now, when I put x equal to 4, this becomes 4 into 5 into 17. This is 20, this is 17. Again, product of not 2 consecutive integers. In fact, the difference between 20 and 17 is 3. Alright, not the 1. X equal to 5. Then I write 5 into 6 into 26. Now, from 30, 26. In fact, if you notice, here consecutive integers are not there. In fact, the difference is 2. Then the difference is 3. Then the difference is 4. And if you go forward, you can see that the difference is increasing. So that means the nearest two factors, in fact, they are going apart from each other. So that means ahead I will not get any solution. Now you can say, what about in the negative integer side? You can do that. Now x equal to minus 1, I've already written. X equal to minus 2. Right? If I do that, x equal to minus 2, y into minus 1, as it is equal to. This is minus 2. This is minus 1, which becomes positive in fact, but okay, fine. And this becomes 5. Again, the problem is the same. Here I have 2 into 5, 10. Again, I cannot write it. Then I put x equal to minus 3. So y into y plus 1, minus 3. So minus 3. Then I will do minus 2. And then I will do 10. Again, that is 60, 60. The nearest one is in fact 10 into 6. 10 into 6. Again, you can see, here the difference was 3. Here the difference is 4. It will keep on increasing. The nearest two factors will have difference increasing. I will not get the product as two consecutive numbers. Right? So that means the only possible solutions are these. And the answer is 0. Alright, on to the next one. Now, for the sake of conserving time, I have made the figure for you. Now, he says in triangle ABC, BD is equal to DE is equal to EF is equal to FC, and then CG is equal to HG is equal to HA. It is given to us. And BQ is given to be 10, as in this length is 10. He says, I want to find out the length PG. Right? Now, I'm interested in this length, and I need to use the equality of so many lengths. Now, equality of so many lengths, then it comes like this. Now, immediately my mind goes to midpoint here, right? Because so many midpoints are there. If I look carefully, I can see that E is the midpoint of BC, right? So maybe I might be able to utilize that. But in order to apply midpoint theorem, I should have nicer triangles. So what I'll do is, I will try to join the nice points. Now, first of all, if I join F and G, right, and I will join E and H, I will get some set of parallel lines. Why will I do that? Why? Because now, look carefully. F is the midpoint of EC and G is the midpoint of HC. This by this, in fact, instead of midpoint theorem, I can use basic proportionality theorem also. This by this is equal to this by this in triangle ECH. This is the midpoint, this is the midpoint, so that means these two lines are parallel. Alright. Also, now if I consider this line, I think this line is also parallel to something. Now, let me consider the big triangle ABC. Now, triangle ABC. Now, if you can see that this ratio, this is 2, 1. So, 2 is to 1 and this is also 2 is to 1. So, that means this line is parallel to this line. So, EH is parallel to AC. Right? So, these three lines are parallel. I might be able to use it. But my problem is to find out this line. PG. This entire length. Out of this entire length, I know some length at least, some length. If I name this point as S, do I know the length FG? That's what I know. No? Right. Consider this triangle BFG. This. This is parallel to this. This is parallel to this. Can I say this by this is equal to this by this QS by HG? So if this is 10, this is 10, this is 10. So I know this part which is 10. Right? If I want to find out PG, I need to find out this tiny length, P. In fact, I write S here. So this entire baby length, how will I find that out? Also, I know that this entire length is QS. So I want this tiny length. So now if I know the ratio of this QP by QS, then I can divide 10 as something by something and I will get to know PS. So now I'm interested in this ratio, QP ratio. Now ratio, this by this. This is getting involved in this triangle and this is getting involved in this triangle, this side. Now ratio of the sides of triangles will be involved provided these two triangles are similar, which they are. Right? Because this angle is equal to this angle and vertically opposite angle. So I can say triangle APQ is similar to triangle EPS. Right? Okay. So if I want to find out this by this, so maybe I can find this by this ES by QA. You can see that also ES by QA. Q. This will be equal to QP by PS. In fact, I have written it opposite, so this will be equal to PS by P. Now, the question is, I have reduced my problem. This by this is this by this. How do I find out this length? This and this. In fact, I don't want the length, I want the ratio. This ratio. How do I? Now, mind it, I know that this length will be associated with this one. Right? And this one will be associated with this one. The entire. Interesting. This will be associated with this one. So what I'll do is I'll suppose this length will be 2x. Is that fine? Now, if this length is 2x, I can apply similarity in this bigger small triangle and the bigger one. I can find that out with 3x. Why? Because this by this is 2 is to 3. So I will leave that up to you. Now, if this length is 3x, I want to find out this length. Directly I can do that. Because this tiny triangle is similar to this one. Right? This by this is nothing but this by. So 1 is to 3. So this is 3x. This entire length is 9. But my point was not the entire length. I just wanted this one. So this portion is left. Let me see this portion. Now let's come to the smaller one. This triangle, this baby triangle, is similar to this bigger triangle. So this is 2x, that means this length is 6x. This entire length is 9x. This baby length is x, so that means this length is 8x. If this is 8x, this is 2x, so that means I need the ratio which I get as 2 by 8 as 1 by 6. Is that fine? Now I need to divide 10 in the ratio 1 by 4. So obviously I will write 3 as 2. And PS is 2, this is 10, that is why the correct answer is 2. Alright, on to the next one. Now he says, write the largest positive integer that divides this with the same remainder in each case. Now I want the integer which divides this with the remainder. So that means I'm dividing this number by something and I'm talking about the remainder. Obviously, I'll go for the usual method, that is dividend is equal to divisor into plus 1. Right? Now in the first case, my dividend is 364 equal to. Now let that number that I'm interested in, let that be T into some quotient, so let that be Q1 plus. Now the remainder in each case is R. Because those are the same, so I will just take it to be R. Similarly, I have 414 as. Now, number remains the same, so P into Q2 plus remainder also remains the same, so R. Then 539 equal to P into Q3 plus R. I have these three equations and I need to find the largest positive integer. That means the largest possible value of P. Now, looking at these two, R is here, R is here. Obviously, my first instinct is to subtract the two. Right? So this minus this minus this turns out to be 50 is equal to P into Q2 minus Q1. I'm subtracting this minus this. Cool. Similarly, if I subtract, I should write it if you want me to. 3 minus 2, so I will write this as 125 equal to, now P common obviously, into Q3 minus Q2. Right? Now I think the question is done. Why? Because obviously this is an integer, positive integer, this is a positive integer. 50 has to be written as product of two positive integers. Similarly, 125 has to be written as product of two positive integers. That will be the largest one. So first thing that comes to my mind, maybe P is 25. But mind it, along with this, I should get a positive Q2, I should get a positive Q1, and I should get the positive Q3. That I do in fact. Why? Because 25 into 2, right? So I need to write this as 2. So let me take this as 1. Then 25 into 5. So this I need to write as 5. So this is 3. So this I will take it to be 8. If you want, you can substitute the value of Q1, Q2, Q3 in the third equation, verify it whether it satisfies or not, or you can just write it as 25. Alright, on to the last question. Now he says two circles of radii are given to us. Obviously 10 root 2 and the baby one is 2 root 2. They touch each other internally, done that. Now when they are touching each other internally, that means I will have a common tangent like this. Now he says chord AB of the larger circle. So chord AB of the larger circle touching the smaller circle, right? And forms an angle of 45 degrees. So this angle is 45 degrees with the common tangent. Now he says that if AB is this, write the value. So basically I am interested in the length of the chord. Now length of the chord, and I know the radius of the circle. If I want to find out the length of the chord and radius of the circle is known to us, basic method is to drop the perpendicular from center. Why? Because it will bisect the chord. So let me call this as E. If I want to find AB, instead of that, I'll just find out either AE or EB, whatever is available to us. Right? If I want to find AE, all I need to do is need to find out this length. I already know which is 10 root 2. I need to find out this length, the distance of the chord from the center. So my aim in this question is to find out the length OE. Right? Okay. Now, what do I know? I know that this is the tangent. In fact, this is the common tangent. Center, center. So if I join all these three, this is the full done, and this angle is 90 degrees. Also, the chord touches the smaller one. So obviously here, if I join it, again I have 90 degrees. Right? Now I need to proceed further. Now mind it, this 45 degree needs to be utilized. But 45 degrees is outside the circle. Somehow I need to get it inside. Right? Now, if this angle is 45 degrees, this angle is 90, that means in this triangle, if I call this point S, this triangle, this angle is 45 degrees. I might be able to use it. Let me see how. Now, this length, this is the radius, that is 2. Right? This angle is 45 degrees. If this angle is 45 degrees, that means I can easily find out this length. Actually, not this length, at least I know this length. This is also 2 root 2. I saw this triangle, it's not a big deal, because 45 degrees, right? Now, using Pythagoras theorem, I can find out this length to be 4. So, O dash S turns out to be 4. Might be able to utilize it. But, come back to the question. I was interested in OE. That means this length. Now, this length I can find out how. Wait. If this is 45 degrees, again, this angle is 45 degrees. Right? This angle is 90. So, if I want to work in this tiny triangle, I want to find OE. I already know angle. If one other side I know, my problem is solved. Now, the other side can be OF or it can be AEM. You can choose the better one. Now, I think OF I can easily find out. How? You already know this length now. This is 4. By any chance, do you know what this length is? O dash. Now, mind this entire thing is 10 root 2. This is 2 root 2. Distance between the centers would be nothing but 8 root 2. This length is 8 root 2. This is 4. So, that means this length, OF, is nothing but 8 root 2 minus 4. I think my problem is done now. Why? Because if I know this length, this one, I can easily find OE. How? I can use Pythagoras theorem or I can use trigonometry, whatever you want to do. So, OE by this length, which is very pretty, 8 root 2 minus 4, equal to 1 by 4. So, OE turns out to be, I will rationalize it obviously because we need to check with the answer. So, we will get 16 minus 4 root 2 by 2, so that is 8 minus 2. Right? This is this length, OE. Right? Now, just apply the Pythagoras theorem in this triangle and you will get the length just double it up. I'm leaving the calculation to you because I'm not here to teach you calculations. Do that on your own. You'll find out that AE, in fact AB, turns out to be 8 by 50. Looking at the form, you need to simplify it, otherwise you will have a problem. And obviously, the answer will turn out to be 0. Alright, so with that we'll end it. Now mind it, I've just discussed certain hints. I've not done the calculation part for you, that is for you. So I hope that you do well in your exam. All the best, and I'll see you.